What was more intimidating? Getting in a scuffle with former Chicago Bears tight end Martellus Bennett, or your interviews to get into Techstars Accelerator for Boxxtech?
Interviews to get into Techstars.
Boxxtech.ai, automating prepackaged alcohol sales.
Verified estimation of your age, and we cross-verify that age with your ID.
Wow. I come up, it analyzes my face to see how old I am.
As you're shopping, yes.
Fundraising is not easy. Like, this thing is hard, right?
Oh, 1,000%. I have a lot of war stories.
Did you have to have a crew or yourself to go tackle some guys as defense while you figure out the technology out? All right, I want to know. Have you ever sacked a mother? Let's go, baby. This is another episode of the Athletes and Assets podcast. I'm your host, Noah Lack, and I bring on your favorite athletes to chat about the business they're building. Today, we got a Texas Longhorn alum, former NFL veteran, defensive end and outside linebacker for the Raiders, the Chicago Bears, and is now the co-founder of Boxxtech.ai, an all-in-one secure solution for automating prepackaged alcohol sales. Yes, that is the man, Lamarr Houston, talking to me from ATX. My guy, Lamarr, welcome to the community, and thanks for joining us.
Noah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on here with you. So it's an honor.
Hey, man, you know what we do, Lamarr. We got to skip the small talk. So I don't know if many people will know this reference on both sides, but I'm going to go for it. So my question to you, just to kick it off, man, what was more intimidating? Getting in a scuffle with former Chicago Bears tight end Martellus Bennett, or your interviews to get into Techstars Accelerator for Boxxtech?
Interviews to get into Techstars.
Okay. Why?
Oh man, because Techstars is a very reputable accelerator. You know, they had over 30,000 applicants apply. You know, they only take in, I think, maybe 3% or 2% of the applicants. So, you know, it was a task that, you know, my company was challenged with to see if we can pass their credentials and due diligence to be worthy of an investment from them.
That trumps a little Martellus scuffle.
Yeah, that trumps Martellus not a lot.
I had a feeling you were going to say that because there's a lot on the line there. Like, I feel like the coaches during training camp are okay with very physical play, but we're talking about
you're out there in the heat. You're doing 2 days. You know, you're around guys 24/7. It gets testy. So sometimes, you know, you break out to fight every once in a while. You know, you might have missed lunch. You know, you never know.
You might have been hangry. You know what I mean? We can't blame you for that. Might have been hangry. Well, thanks so much again for joining us. This is a fascinating episode. I think what we're going to kick it off here is, look, like you're it's 2013, 2015. You come off a 6-sack season, another 8-sack season. You're rocking and rolling in the league. Was it around this time when you tore your ACL for the second time? Is that when you started thinking about sort of tech and the world around you, or where did this? Because you were rolling a bit there in that time frame.
Yeah.
But where did this interest come from?
So when I was a rookie in Oakland, during our exit meetings, I heard one of the player development people talk about boot camps they could take at different business schools. And you could do basically a weekend there in a small class. And I did my first one at Stanford Business School about small business. You know, met Joe Peterson, met the founder of TRX. A few different guys. There was another guy who was a former kicker for the Niners. He has a real estate company out there in the Bay Area. But no, it started early on for me.
Yeah.
You know, I did about 4 or 5 of those boot camps throughout my career, most of them early on. During one of those boot camps, I befriended a guy who became my life mentor by the name of Richard Pignacca. He is a former real estate lawyer, Angel. He's on the band of Angels in San Francisco. He's on the board of Angels for Notre Dame. So, you know, my interest in venture capital and startups started really early in my career, but really developed more after. But
yeah, I mean, playing for the Raiders doesn't hurt, right? You're like in Silicon Valley, you're in the area.
It doesn't hurt if you realize it. At the time when I was in Silicon Valley, I didn't even realize it. Most of the connections I had built were just, through the NFL programs of using those resources and building a network, but not necessarily knowing, that I was in Silicon Valley. I think someone who did capitalize on it, and this is another person who influenced me to get into the venture capital tech space, is Ryan Neese.
Yeah.
He's Next Legacy Partners. I just did a fellowship with him, but he used to be Next Play Capital. Back in the day when I was playing for the Raiders, he also used to do a lot of tours around Silicon Valley. So he would take guys, you'd go see BlackRock, you'd go see Andreessen Horowitz, you'd go to Google campus and see all this really cool tech stuff. And that's another part that, sparked my interest in the lane, but no, not me getting hurt.
Yeah.
I've never been a person who hasn't thought about life after or having a roadmap. So my roadmap was already planned out to do this, regardless of, what happened in my career. I always wanted to go to law school, business school, and do all those kind of things.
That's awesome. And man, I've been trying to get Ryan on the pod. Ryan is an incredible example and he's been incredible for players to expose them to the venture capital and tech space. On the second note is I say this all the time. I feel like if you play for the Warriors, the Niners, the Raiders, the Giants, you have this inherent advantage, but you got to know it's there, and you got to know
realize it. I mean, and to be fair to the younger guys, I was there before too. It's you're trying to compete for one of the toughest jobs there are, and especially when you're a rookie, you're really trying to prove that you belong in this group of elite men who really dedicate a lot and give a lot to the sport, to play and enjoy the game. So your focus isn't quite on the environment around you as much as the job in front of you. So, to be fair to them. And I think the younger players now are doing a better job of balancing that. But, from my era and before, the job was already tough as it is.
No, for sure. Let me ask you this though. I know you had the roadmap, way ahead of time, but let me ask you this. If you were with the Raiders when they're in Las Vegas, if you play in Las Vegas, do you think you would be still as well equipped to build this company as you would living in Oakland? Even more
so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe not from the standpoint of learning how, venture works with funds, building their funds and different models of, how some of the firms work with fund-to-fund models, et cetera. But I think from a network standpoint of being in Vegas, having the contacts, meeting all the people, I think it would kind of level out in that manner. Because if I played for the Raiders in Vegas, I'm sure I can get to the GM of Aria.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of
different scenario. Yeah. That could be a lot of angel money too, though, in Vegas. Now that I think about it.
It could be a lot of angel money in Vegas as well. Yes. A lot of gambling money.
A lot of gambling money for sure. Yeah. That is a whole nother world from Techstars, might I say.
It is a much different world than Techstars.
Yeah.
Or McCombs.
Yeah, or McCombs, where you were studying, which great school as well. I think people don't realize how quality UT was. As a guy who didn't get admitted academically in UT before I was getting recruited for basketball, but that's another story. No shade on.
It's even worse now. They're taking it from the top 10% to the top 6%.
Sheesh.
So it's worse.
It's crazy.
It's worse now.
That's crazy. The idea of Boxxtech. When did you first come up with it?
So me and my co-founder came up with that idea in 2020, just thinking about passive income from vending machines and asking the question, why? Why was there nothing for regulated goods? Why weren't people moving in that space? And then we just started to build and bring our vision to life of what we thought should be an item that could, automate that transaction.
So most of what you're selling is alcohol, right? But was this a problem you incurred, or was it just an idea that just came about in your head? Were you a result of the issue, or did you just wanted to always just thought it was just be a better solution, or both?
Well, actually, in Vegas, I went for my son's birthday to the Raiders game, and I took him, and I think I missed actually like the entire third quarter waiting in line, like trying to get drinks. It's like, wow, like this is, as big as Vegas, the stadium is like I waited in this line so long.
There it is.
But, there's other examples like being at a concert, missing your favorite songs. Like I was at the Drake concert. The lines were crazy for drinks, here in Austin at the Moody Center. So there's different scenarios where, we've pivoted into being a convenient item that does transactions in 30 seconds to increase throughput for these customers as well as lower their labor costs. But I think what we're most excited about is how we become a data collection platform by collecting all this information on consumer shop behavior in these environments. Doing things like Super Bowl, doing 200 transactions an hour and things like that have given us a lot of different data sets that, haven't been collected today.
And it sounds so elementary, right? Like you're frustrated sitting in line for a while, but like this is how some of these ideas start, right? Like you're literally can't get a beer and you want to watch the game and you're stuck in line, and it's times like these where you're like, if I had the resources and capability to solve this problem, why not? And so kudos to you, first of all, for taking that jump. I want to definitely get into the data collection, but how did you talk about, I guess, the first MVP of the first Boxxtech vending machine? Like, how did you construct it? What did that process look like? Talk about that MVP process.
So it's pretty interesting. It's very, very serendipitous story where we were trying to search for like our first base of a vending machine to basically build our MVP of what we saw as a 3-screen vending machine. And we couldn't get any. So, like most times through failure, there's success. We couldn't get any machines from any large vending machine makers because our order was too small. We were talking about doing, 4 or 5 machines. Large manufacturers really don't take anything under 100 machine orders. So it was really tough for us to get an order in. And we finally found someone who could do some retrofitting and fashion to create our experience. And when we got that prototype finally, like late 21, it was already a year and a half in that we waited to get the MVP.
Yeah.
Got the MVP in the office. We tested it. It was
a year and a half.
It was exciting. Yeah. When you're talking about this type of hardware, it takes up to 3 years to build, an actual machine. So, but the MVP took us, a year and a half to get. And once we got it, it was exciting because, we finally got to see like what we were envisioning kind of coming to life. And, we started doing endless testing, all kinds of testing, with IDs and dispensing and R&Ding on how much can be served at one time. So, we've pushed our new machine to be able to serve 2 items at once instead of 1.
Gosh.
Pushed the elevator speed to go from 90 seconds to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of R&D after testing our prototype.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like, for your product, totally makes sense that it would take so long to put together, this machinery. Imagine if it for a guy like me, let's say my MVP was my first podcast episode. Imagine it took me a year and a half to figure out the perfect guests and the perfect content. I think a lot of startup, the startup advice is, ship as fast as you can. Don't worry, launch ASAP, get information, feedback. But with something so intricate, when we combine hardware with it, such a process if you have to be so patient with. And I know your patience was tested for sure.
Well, yeah, it wasn't just, finding the right perfect pieces, but it was just, we came off of, an environment where COVID has sent a ripple through shipping and supplies for like a year. So even, things that normally took you a week to get was taking like a month, 2 months. So that affected, the timeline of our prototype a lot, because we had to wait for, steel to become available. We had to wait for, the manufacturer to be able to get that steel. So like the whole COVID shipping supply impact had really rippled through 21, where it started reaching, different sectors. And that kind of took us a long time. It was more the environment than the process,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. So for those who don't know, okay, Lamarr, let's say I'm a customer. I'm at the ball game. I want to get myself a Corona. I'm a Corona guy. I saw some high noons in your packaging, but like I don't want the boys coming at me for high noons. I like high noons, but like I'm going with Corona. All right, that's what I'm gonna use for this example. Yeah, okay. Thank you. I come up to the Boxxtech machine. Talk to me about this experience. What am I going through when I use your product?
So you're basically shopping and interacting with the interface. While you shop, we analyze your face, about 400 biometric markers in your face to see how old you are. And then by the time you complete shopping, we have a verified estimation of your age, and we cross-verify that age with your ID.
Wow. You guys built this. Yeah, wow. So, okay, I come up, it analyzes my face to see how old I am?
As you're shopping, yes.
Wow. Who built that? Like, talk about your technical team. How did you recruit the people to be able to even build that technology?
Well, we just hired a development group and brought them in-house to code for us and build our tech stack. It's pretty cumbersome, but we found the right people to give us the right experience we want.
I mean, when you talk about cumbersome, like finding technical talent that's committed to the process, I think so many startups go through that similar, journey, right? Like interview, did you go through a bunch of interviews? Like, how did you, know your guys were the right guys?
I just, honestly, it's all very just serendipitous. My co-founders, little brother's friend, knew a guy who built ordering platforms in Arizona that we knew. And he had a lot of ordering platforms that operated. He knew a lot of the rules and regulations in the industry we wanted to go in. So it made sense for him to help design and develop our platform, which he's already done before in that space. So that's how we actually developed our platform. It was a very serendipitous little brother friend type thing.
Yeah. And not bad. Nah, we'll take it. I order my Corona, scan my ID, dispenses it after I pay. Do you remember watching the first successful transaction? And how did you feel when your thing worked?
Yeah, I mean, in the office, yes, I remember seeing the first transaction where we actually dispensed something from ordering through our menu, and it was just mind-blowing to see an experience that we thought about in our head, and just for it to be tangible was like, wow, like this is what we were envisioning of our product doing. And then I think on another level, like out in the field, seeing consumers use it and be like very happy and get drawn to it and, say, wow, I can't believe I was waiting in line and I just came over here and got a beer so fast. Like, I would have never went over there. Yeah. So just seeing that and hearing that feedback it's pretty gratifying. But seeing the first transaction done was pretty mind blowing.
And were there hurdles or hoops you had to jump through to be able to dispense alcohol? I mean, you chose alcohol. You could have chose Sour Patch Kids or I don't know, like hot dog machine or, you chose alcohol. Well, what was this an open market you guys thought you could be first to, or what was the thought process there? Or because you didn't want to get it, because you tried to get a beer, a couple years ago?
Well, there's less red tape and there's a lot more self-serve items in alcohol. So
Yeah.
it's an industry that's been growing fast in the last 2 years, and automation within that industry has been a real strong growth point. So we've seen the opportunity to capitalize on alcohol that's nationally legal in a way we can, reach our customers and increase margins for ourselves as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, this is, and I mean, you have I just wouldn't even imagine that this wasn't a space already tapped into, because everyone sees the classic beer pourer at the ball game and all this stuff. Now, the AI, the hardware, that's expensive stuff. You need upfront capital to sort of get this stuff off the ground, which leads me into a conversation I'm fascinated to pick your brain on, is the Accelerator. A lot of startup founders around tech, and I hear two sides, Lamarr, is like, one, I don't want to go down the startup accelerator route. They take so much equity and they provide little value. And the other one is like, if I don't do an accelerator, I can't get this off the ground. I hear such polar takes. You went through Techstars in 2022. What's your take on this?
I think it just depends on the stage of the company. If you're in the idea phase where hey, I'm coming up with this idea and I'm going to start building this idea, growing this business, learning how to pitch it, learning how to sell it, I think it's excellent. If you're someone who's in a later stage where you're already positive ARR and you have 100,000 ARR and you're getting ready for a Series A, or even after your Series A, I wouldn't suggest it. But I think it's great. I think it's an experience that a lot of startups should go through, because they teach you how to talk about your business to anybody. And that can be from a 30-second pitch to a 1-minute pitch to a 10-minute pitch. They teach you how to talk about your business to where it's appetizable for investors and users. So not only talk about it, but make it digestible so people understand what you're saying or what you're selling. So it's not some over complex speech that you're giving. You're giving a direct, simplified, digestible pitch that people can understand and grasp your business very fast. Because if they have to think about what your business is, then most times they're going to get distracted and think about something else.
For sure. So they helped you hone in on that elevator pitch, making you super concise and telling you storytelling, right? Like super important in the early stages.
Correct.
Did you shop any other accelerator? Did you try to do like the Y Combinators of the world or another accelerator? Was Techstars did you apply to a bunch, or was Techstars the sole focus?
We applied to a bunch. I mean, it's very difficult to get into these.
It's a crapshoot.
Accelerators, especially the Y Combinators. And there's some that are, too early stage for you, so they don't accept you. And there's some that are too, strict with the rules, but it's tough to get into the accelerators. So we applied to a bunch of them. For
sure. I think the accelerator game, man, is fascinating. I mean, out here on the West Coast, most people are over, really want to do the Y Combinator accelerator. Techstars, I feel like they're more spread out across the country. I know there's Techstars locations in various it's global. Yeah, I think it's interesting, man. They always hear the Techstars versus YC. Were you glad you did Techstars? Like, how was that specifically for you?
Very happy. We were, me and my co-founder were so happy we did Techstars. We loved Mentor Madness, learning how to pitch to so many people and get a refined, view of our business. It actually helped us go through some rebranding.
Yeah.
But that's how we came with our name, Boxxtech. So that was exciting for us. It was very beneficial. We loved it.
Yeah. Did you guys ever have the conversation between your co-founders of like, damn, they taking a lot of equity for this couple months. Oh, that's a lot. I feel like that is the pre-accelerator conversation.
The percentage of equity, I don't think it's the percentage of equity. I think it's more of the evaluation that you have to go.
Valuation, yeah.
I think it's more around that than the equity, because the equity it's tiny.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of the evaluation you have to take, and that's why it's crucial that you choose the right time to take it, because if you're somebody who's already, making 100 ARR every year, I don't think you want to take a low valuation because that's their rules.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who's starting out and you haven't even started raising, and this is going to kind of be your pre-seed or seed money, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I imagine Techstars probably. I'm sorry.
High evaluated seed. A lot of investors will not put money in, high value seed companies unless it's a super valid reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd imagine through Techstars, what, the average valuation is like between 8 to 12 coming out? 8 to 12 million, or is that inaccurate?
I think it's 3.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like 3 to 5, yeah.
Oh, so this is like earlier, way earlier.
It's very early.
Yeah. Have you guys raised like an official pre-seed or seed round?
Yeah, we've raised 1.5 of the seed round this year.
Congrats. That's hard as shit to do.
It's very hard.
I don't think people realize. Okay, so I saw a tweet the other day, and it was from it was a interaction between Gary Tan and Mark Andreessen, and it was around fundraising. And Mark Andreessen said something like, "Fundraising is the easiest part of your business," and I'm like, well, shit, I'm not saying building the business is easy, but fundraising is not easy. Like, this thing is hard, right? For and you played in the NFL. You have great, you have a brand name. You played at University UT. You have a network. I'm sure still you went through trials and tribulations during that fundraise.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. I do have some UT guys who invested with me, so I love those guys. I appreciate them for believing in me, so I must say that. But
yeah,
I have 1,000% dealt with a lot of struggle. I mean, especially in this environment, with inflation, the way cash is, it's crazy tough. And then to throw on top of that, to be a hardware company is like,
yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I won't force it out of you, but I'd be very interested to hear fundraising war stories, because those are always the things that people don't want to talk about, but that is like what everyone goes through.
Sheesh, gosh, I have a lot of war stories. Never celebrate till the money's 72 hours after the money's in the bank. They say 48, I say 72.
Wow, 72?
Yes.
Ain't been dry, Lamarr. What are we worried about?
Never celebrate till the money's in the bank for 72 hours.
That's a long time, man.
Yes. No, I've never had anything like that happen to me.
Okay.
I'm just saying in general that you shouldn't celebrate until 3 days later.
Whew.
Because
have you heard some stuff?
I've heard some horror stories from Techstars directors, but I have not heard anybody directly having money taken back from them, from investors. But I do have horror stories about people committing money and just being disasters. So
100%.
It's
let me and maybe I want to come back down the line and really hash this out when we can afford to say more. But I've heard of stories where safe documents signed, ink's dried, no money. Like it comes from all like everything, man. Like it is.
I've not experienced that, thank God. But I have experienced committed capital and people going ghost.
I think that's a popular one. That
yeah, I've experienced that.
Yeah.
Or I've experienced someone be so excited, and just nothing.
Yeah.
It just ghost. So
yeah.
we experienced the ghost, but yeah, those are my investment horror stories.
No, for sure. And once again, you mentioned you have the AI component, you have hardware, such a complex combination of things. I guess what's been the most difficult part of your entrepreneurial journey so far?
Oh man, most difficult, everything. Sheesh. What's the most difficult part? I mean, I don't know. I couldn't even just say it's like one thing.
Yeah.
You know, being an entrepreneur is just like, oh, hey, ooh, oh, hey. So I couldn't just pinpoint and say one thing is the hardest thing. I think it's just all encompassing hard.
Yeah.
It's just hard to do. It's hard to get people to believe in something and see to it that it works. It's hard to get people to understand how something works. It's definitely difficult to get people to part with their money.
Yep.
And even in your vision. So I think it's just all difficult. But we enjoy it. Me and my co-founder, we enjoy it. We're bred for stuff like this.
For sure.
Formerly, she worked in the tech industry launching, food and beverage companies. And, I've worked in basically entertainment and sports for a while. So
yeah,
I think we're bred for this kind of challenge.
You know what's the hardest part for me is focus. What am I putting my focus on at this particular point in time? And is that the most important thing I could be focusing on at this important time? As the head of the company, you're probably dealing with so many different things, right? It's fundraising, or it's the product development, or it's sales, it's the marketing. Like the constant thing I always battle with is what am I allocating my time and energy on, and having that narrow focus.
Yeah, it's, me being a former athlete is less difficult for me because I understand how to goal set and work towards that goal. And it comes innate for me to be like, okay, we want to have an MVP machine that's running by January for CES.
Yeah.
That means we need to be, in December, we need to be testing clean. In November, we need to have all the kinks out. Like, I understand, processes to get to an objective goal. So we prioritize our time pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think being that we're co-founders and there's two of us, it helps us. We're able to naturally delegate to jobs that we do well and succeed at. And so that way we cover a lot more ground as opposed to being a solopreneur, which I think is even tougher.
Yeah.
So, two people saying, hey, I think this is important. I'm saying, yeah, I agree with that's important. Okay, how can we get this done?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's beneficial and basically how we attack things.
I hear you, because right now I'm a solo founder, right? And if I had two of me, I would have less gray hairs. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, it wouldn't be any easier, but it certainly would be more efficient. You know what I mean? Right now, obviously the hottest topic in tech is AI. You mentioned you guys are using AI for age verification. You're in an industry where typically vending machines, at the core product is, little dial pad and, put the cash in and get a dispenser. How have you seen AI disrupt your industry?
I think it's helped us speed up the transactions with confidence scores of validating age, lower the amount of human error we have with people validating fake IDs. We catch 99% of fake IDs. 60% of kids have fake IDs these days, and they're very good. So they use them and they get past a lot.
Yeah.
I think AI has been a tool that we've been able to use to make our experience and enhance our experience to the speed that the customers like it.
Okay. I heard the two things I took out of there was speed of the transaction and eliminating error, making it, verifying the fake IDs better than your bouncer at the bar, right? Quite simply. It's crazy with the technology we're seeing and how, and it's kudos to you guys for implementing it. At first though, right? And I asked you this question, the questions coming to ask you a couple of weeks ago. As a startup founder, you got to do things that don't scale. And so in the first prototypes, when you tried to, or your first machines that were out there, when kids were trying to put their fake ID in the machine and grab them a beer, did you have to have a crew or yourself to go tackle some guys as defense while you figure out the technology out? All right, I want to know. Have you ever sacked a motherfucker who tried to buy illegal drinks?
Yeah, that's never happened. And these are machines that are out in people and it's view of people who work in places. But no, I've never had to sack a person for buying an underage drink.
I got you.
Also, the funny thing is during testing time, I use my own kids a lot as testing because a lot of them look like me. So I only have 3 of us. A lot of them. They look a lot like me, so I use their faces to cross-verify my ID for testing. So it was fun to do that.
That's resourceful, man. Using the kids on the product. That's good stuff.
Don't tell anybody to do shop.
Right. So I had an episode with a former NBA player, CJ Watson, who writes children's books. And he's like, a great way for me to test whether the books I'm writing will do well in the market is like I read them to my kids. And if they fall asleep, maybe it's not a solid reflection of the content and material of the book. And in the same light here, it's like, if the vending machine is detecting them as over 21, maybe we got to fix the bug. Maybe there's a bug we got to fix.
Exactly. If they're verifying their face is my face,
yeah,
they have a lot of the same kind of structure. So
yeah,
it was fun. It was fun to do that.
That's great. No, and that makes total sense. Let's talk about distribution and go to market. So what locations is Boxxtech in right now, and how are you looking to expand in the future?
So we have a Holiday Inn in Denver. We have a family entertainment group in Austin, and we also have our first Major League Baseball team. We're lined up to do, popular brands that you mentioned earlier on the East Coast, and we'll be coming out in the Vegas area, Reno area with a few machines. So we're lined up to drop into these high foot traffic locations where these people are consuming and shopping for these on-demand products. And we're also, the second side of that is we're giving an opportunity for brands to gain recognition in a crowded market, where there's a lot of sponsorship and things like that. So it's kind of two-edged sword.
I feel like your product will be a hit in Vegas. I feel like Vegas.
Same way.
Like that is a place I think would be open and receptive to adopting, rethinking about how they distribute alcohol, and also the data you're collecting, super helpful for anywhere. Any entertainment entity that wants to know what their consumers are buying or what they want. What is the biggest? Yeah, absolutely. What's the block here? Why can't we get more yesterday? Is it because of the hardware? Is it because of permission? Like, what's the big block to getting this in mass out there in the market?
I think it used to be kind of the technology, and then twofold, it's some of the regulations. So there's 5 major markets that this is definitely operating in, and there's some that will have to definitely change. But as you see in New York, there's legislation changing towards automation and different products. So it's slowly happening across the country, but it's definitely the roadblock is regulations.
Well, look, I think kind of with cannabis, how many places have been illegal for years, and now there's been a whole economy around it as places start to open up. Obviously, alcohol has been legal in states for a while, but sort of the way it's being sold is it sounded like it still needs to open up. But what I'm really excited about and I'm really bullish on is it seems like you guys are ahead of the wave and will be ready when the floodgates open. And so I asked the question to every guest, where do you see your company in Boxxtech 5 years from now?
5 years from now, we'll have 1,000 machines at 1,000 locations, or probably 1,000 locations with multiple machines, either one, being a self-sustaining business and one of the key leaders in changing the automation retail for self-serve items.
That's what's up. That's exciting. Last thing, Lamaar, what we're starting to end with, we want to take audience questions. So I've fielded some questions from sort of our core internal audience. And first question is, will you expand outside of alcohol offerings?
Eventually, yes. That's the goal. We want to do tobacco, prescription drugs, different things. We want to, nail alcohol first as a full hold market, but we definitely want to expand into different industries. Got
it. Second one, how do you think about marketing Boxxtech?
We haven't dedicated a lot of marketing. We've wanted to do a lot of early organic growth. It gives us autonomy and time to, hone in and work on our sales pipeline, our processes, and our product development, and really focus on the product itself. So we haven't really dedicated a lot to marketing.
Coming soon to a social media account or somewhere near you.
We have a social media.
Yeah.
At Boxxtech on Instagram or LinkedIn. So we have those.
No doubt. I got another one for you actually, Lamaar. On your website, it says we are not a liquor company. Why do you feel like that was so important for it to be the first thing that people will see when they go on your website?
Because people need to understand we don't sell alcohol.
Yeah.
So they think because we are able to automate the transaction of alcohol, we sell it. We do not sell alcohol. We provide the hardware and the software for the transaction, but we don't have anything to do with the actual alcohol.
There you have it. Heard it from the man himself, Lamarr Houston, former NFL veteran, co-founder of Boxxtech.ai. Lamaar, thank you so much, man, and welcome to the community.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.